Day 1, you can't say the word I not once in 13 weeks. 91 days later, they hand you a name. It isn't the Crucible that breaks people. Level 1, Day 1. You are 18. It is 2 in the morning and you have been awake for 21 hours. The bus has no radio. Nobody on it is talking. The windows are dark and you cannot tell how far you have come. The bus stops, a man gets on, he does not introduce himself. You have 3 seconds to get off his bus. There are yellow footprints painted on the concrete outside, 4 rows of them angled out. You stand on them, everybody stands on them. It is the first thing you and 79 strangers ever do together. Those footprints have been painted on that spot since the 1960s. Every Marine alive stood on a set of these. Inside, they take your phone, they take your wallet, they take the clothes you arrived in and put them in a box with your home address already on it. Your family gets the box before they get a letter from you. There is a phone on the wall and a sign next to the phone. You read the sign out loud into the receiver. I have arrived safely at Parris Island. Please do not send any food or bulky items. I will contact you in 7 to 9 days by postcard. That is the entire call. You do not get to say anything else. Somebody is already waiting behind you for the phone. Your mother hears your voice reading a stranger's words at 3 in the morning. You are here for 13 weeks, 91 days. Nobody says that number out loud. Level 2, Receiving. The barber does not ask. It takes under 30 seconds. 80 of you go through in about an hour. You watch your hair land on the floor and get swept into the same pile as everybody else's. There is a window on the way out. You look at it and there is a stranger in it. That is the point. It is not about hygiene. 80 men who look identical cannot be individuals, and an individual is the thing they are here to remove. Then they take the word I. You are not allowed to say it, not I, not me, not we. You say this recruit. This recruit requests permission to speak, sir. Every sentence ends in sir or ma'am. Every sentence is shouted because normal volume is not a volume that exists here. You will say this recruit thousands of times over the next 3 months. The first week you feel stupid saying it. By the 3rd week you do not notice. That is not an accident either. You are issued everything you own. It fits in a footlocker and none of it is yours. Lights out at 2100, up at 0400. Somebody is awake all night watching the squad bay. You have not been alone, not for 1 minute since the bus. Level 3, the parade deck. Everything is on a count now. 30-inch steps, 120 of them a minute. 80 men, 1 sound. When it is 1 sound, it is the best thing you have ever been part of. When it is not, everybody pays. A recruit 4 rows behind you turns the wrong way. You do push-ups, all of you do push-ups. That is the lesson and they never explain it, because explaining it would ruin it. You learn the difference between a drill instructor's voice at 10 feet and at 10 inches. You get very good at folding. The same corners on 80 racks and one of them is inspected at random. You get in trouble for a thread, an actual loose thread hanging off a cuff. They have a name for it. You start seeing them on other people. You cannot stop seeing them. You write letters now. Everybody writes letters. You have never written a letter in your life. You have things to say and no way to say them, because you are still not allowed to say I. Level 4, Week 4. You assumed this one would be easy. You swam every summer as a kid. A 10-foot jump into the water in camis wearing a pack. Boots fill in a few seconds, trousers fill slower, the pack does not float. You shed the gear underwater without panicking. And the whole time a man watches you from the side of the pool holding a clipboard instead of a rope. Then you tread for 4 minutes. 4 minutes is a long time to be told is the minimum. Then 25 meters with the pack still on. There is a recruit in your platoon from Arizona who has never been in water deeper than a bathtub. He fails. He goes to remedial swim at night after everything else every night. You watch him come back at 2200 with his eyes red from the chlorine, and get up at 0400 with everybody else. He passes on the fourth attempt. Nobody claps. There is no clapping here. You will remember him longer than you remember your own qualification. Level 5 Grass Week. You spend 5 days not firing a rifle. You lie in a field and get into 4 positions: standing, kneeling, sitting, prone. You hold each one until your hands shake, and then you hold it longer. Sitting is the one nobody warns you about. Your ankles are not built for it. A coach corrects your elbow by moving it half an inch. That half inch is worth a lot of inches at 500 yards. Then firing week: 200 yards, 300 yards, 500 yards, an M16A4 and iron sights. 500 yards is 5 football fields. At that distance, the target is smaller than your front sight post. You learn to breathe out and fire in the pause after the breath, in the gap between 2 heartbeats. You had a heartbeat your whole life, and you never noticed it until somebody made you shoot around it. You qualify. You are not the best shot in the platoon. You are 11th. You know exactly where every man is on that list. So does every man. You still say this recruit. Level 6 The Tower. 47 feet of tower and 1 rope. The instruction is to walk backwards off the edge and keep your feet flat against the wall. Everything in you says do not do that. The gap between being told and doing it is roughly 2 seconds long, and it is the longest 2 seconds of the first 2 months. Nobody falls. They have run this for decades and nobody falls. Your body does not care about the statistics. You go over. You are on the ground in under 10 seconds and your hands are shaking on the rope. Then you get back in line and do it again, and the second time is worse, because now you know what it feels like. You are not braver in week 7 than you were in week 1. You are just faster at doing it anyway. Level 7 Week 9. The recruit from Arizona is gone. He did not quit. A stress fracture in his leg, found on an X-ray after he stopped being able to hide the limp. He is dropped to a medical platoon. When he heals, he starts again, weeks back, with 80 men he has never met. His rack is stripped before evening chow. The mattress is folded in half. That is how you find out. Nobody announces it. You look over and the bed is a shape instead of a person. 3 more go the same month. 1 quits, 2 get hurt. You arrived here with a platoon and you are going to graduate with a different one, and nobody mentions the difference. This is the part that breaks people. It is not the part anybody films. You put it in a letter home and then you cross it out because it reads like complaining, and you have started measuring everything by whether it reads like complaining. Level 8 Week 11. They call it the confidence chamber. It is a concrete room with CS gas in it. You go in with the mask sealed, and for about a minute nothing happens, and you start to think this is fine. Then they tell you to break the seal. You lift the mask off your face, and you say your name and your platoon number out loud. The gas finds everything wet: eyes, nose, mouth, the inside of your eyelids. You cannot open your eyes. Your nose runs in a way you did not know a nose could run. Nobody dies. That is the entire point of the exercise. The mask works, the gas does not kill you, and now you know it in your body instead of in your head. Outside you stand in a line with your arms out, facing into the wind, and 80 men cry at the same time for chemical reasons. It is the only crying here that is authorized. You said your own name in that room. It is the first time in 11 weeks anybody asked for it. Level 9 The Crucible. 54 hours. It starts in the dark with a hike and it does not stop. 2.5 meals for the whole thing. You carry them. Nobody rations them for you, so how hungry you are on hour 40 is a decision you made on hour 4. 8 hours of sleep across 2.5 days, in pieces on the ground in what you are already wearing. 45 miles of marching between the events. The events are the easy part. Every obstacle is named after a Marine, and every one of those Marines died doing something worse than this. You carry a dummy the weight of a man through a course with 3 other people, and at any given moment, one of the 4 of you is failing. Somewhere after hour 30, your hands stop working properly. You cannot open a wrapper. Somebody opens it for you and hands it back. You have not thought about your phone in 11 weeks. On hour 40, you think about your mother. Nobody talks during the last night march. 80 pairs of boots and nothing else. Level 10, day 91, insane. The last thing is a 9-mile hike, in the dark at the end of 54 hours. You come up the last rise and there is a statue on top of it. 6 men raising a flag on Iwo Jima, cast in steel, a third the size of the real one, and the sun is coming up behind it. Your drill instructor walks down the line. He is not shouting. You have never heard him not shouting. He puts something in your hand and closes your fingers over it. An eagle, a globe, and an anchor. It is small. It is about 1.5 inches across. Then he says your name, not this recruit, your name and one word after it. Marine. You have not heard your own name in a sentence about yourself for 13 weeks. 80 men are standing at attention and crying, and none of it is chemical this time. That emblem cost the Marine Corps a few dollars. You will keep it for 50 years. There is breakfast afterwards, steak and eggs. You are too tired to taste it and you eat all of it. 91 days. You arrived on a bus at 2 in the morning and you were not allowed to say the word I. You leave with a word you are allowed to say, and a piece of metal in your pocket that is worth nothing and is not for sale. Which level would you have quit at, not which one sounds hardest, which one would have got you? Tell me the number and tell me why. Subscribe and you get the next 91 days of something else.